All right, so with the AP mock coming up next week for you guys, I figured that it might be helpful for you guys to be given some tips as to how to best use your material. For those of you who were in class yesterday, you guys heard me tell you about how to use the Barron's chapter summaries, as well as how to organize your material, as well as how to practice your free response using the information that's been available to you on College Board. But I wanted to keep you guys focused by giving you guys a couple of different more tips. So every day I'll send out a short, like 3 to 4 minute video. It won't be long. It's just going to be covering either something topical or something strategically that can be useful for you. Okay. Now, obviously, given that this is just using a webcam, it's not going to be super high tech. There's not going to be graphics or interesting music or anything like that. It's purely just about giving you some ways to organize your information so that come the day of the mock, you guys are organized and ready. Okay, so today I wanted to talk to you about flashcards. And normally the way that flashcards are used, or the way that we used them in class yesterday, is that I hold up something and you tell me what it means. But the other way of using flashcards is a way to organize your information. Hopefully you guys have seen by now that your ability to compare and contrast, your ability to synthesize, your ability to draw parallels is going to be very, very important for your DBQ and your LEQ specifically. And potentially may be useful for your MC as well. And so one of the ways in which using flashcards can be helpful for you is to, it allows you to manipulate them and to move them into different groups as if you just lay them all out on the table. So it's kind of like, you guys have seen salad bars, right? Where you go and each thing is in its own group, but then it all mixes together to form a salad, right? And while it's important to know each vegetable individually, right? Kind of like you need to know each of these terms individually, right? You need to know that carrots are good for your eyes. You know that beets are deceptive because they look like cranberry sauce, but then you eat them and they're gross, right? It's important as well to know how they interact, okay? So I'm going to give you guys an example of this, and I'm going to give you guys an example of this using religions, right? Your major world religions are so important, and they're things that you need to know. Okay, so really quickly, Islam, right? What do we know about Islam? Caliphate, right? It splits into Sunni and Shia. It is formed by Muhammad, right? You have your 5 pillars that you need to pay attention to, with a potential 6 depending on where you stand on jihad. Right? Islam. Right, Hinduism, caste systems, right? Your Brahmins, your Vedas, right? And then legalism, rule of law, right? Atheism, there is no God. Right? Humanism, right? Humanism is that shift from there is heaven that is awaiting us, so we should just continue to suffer here with the goal of eventually getting into heaven, versus, right, let's focus on the here and now. This here and now comes as a result of the Protestant Reformation, right, and drives a lot of the things like the scientific revolution and so on and so forth, right? Judaism, Hebrews, right? Hebrews as a protected people, the Jewish people as a chosen people, and you can trace this through their constant exile during period 2, as well as their eventual acceptance under Rome and under Persia, right? So Judaism. Right, Christianity, right? Christianity has both Protestant and Catholic. Remember the split in the Protestant Reformation? But even within the Catholic Church, there is that split between the Holy Roman Empire and the Byzantine Empire, right? Orthodox versus Roman Catholic, right? Over the issue of iconoclasm, right? Confucianism, right? Remember, know your 5 relationships. Know that it was about training good people, right? That good people lead to a good society, right? Taoism. Taoism is your hippie religion, right? And now let me just read off the back of this card and I can illustrate this, right? This Tao is passive and yielding. It does not do anything, but accomplishes everything. If all of us could accomplish everything by not doing anything, we'd all be amazing people, right? But Taoism is about that circular flow, about getting away from political life and focusing on the self. Right, Buddhism. Right, Buddhism is formed by Siddhartha, right? Gautama Siddhartha, right? And just remember that it is about suffering, right? That suffering is caused by desire, and so in order to remove our suffering, we must also remove our desire, right? And then this one also splits, right, into Theravada and into Mahayana. Okay, and then Deism. Deism is this idea that God is present, but he is no longer directly involved. Whereas Christianity, for example, involves a God that comes down and in the form of his son, happy Easter, by the way, right, and saves us, right? Deism believes that we have a God, that we have a creator, but he is no longer directly involved in the day-to-day happenings of our world, okay? Now, one of the things hopefully you guys notice is that there was one religion that was kind of big that's missing, right? 3, 2, 1. Zoroastrianism, right? Zoroastrianism is this idea of, it is the founding religion of Persia, right? It's this belief of a heaven and a hell, of a faith that will lead to, that by supporting the right side you end up going to heaven, supporting the wrong side you end up going to hell. Now, all of these are useful just as review, right? Just in terms of review, these are useful tools. But what makes these additionally useful is your ability to organize them, kind of like the way that I just did, right? So let's say, okay, what religions are monotheistic? Okay, take all the cards that are monotheistic, put them in a pile. What cards are polytheistic? Take all of them, put them in a pile. What religions involved a split, right? And so you have your Sunni Shia, you have your Mahayana Theravada, right? And then you have your Roman Catholic Church that splits. You have these things that split. What about syncretism? What are some examples of syncretism that happened that you can think of, right? Neo-Confucianism joins with Confucianism joins with Buddhism to become Neo-Confucianism, right? Hinduism joins with Buddhism to become Sikhism. Right? And so when you come up with ways to group them, right, those are ways in which to better your understanding of the time period that exists. And you can do this not just with religions, you can do this with civilizations, you can do this with political systems, right? Communism, capitalism, right? Anarchism, right? You can list them all. What do you know about them? Okay, how can I organize them? How many different ways can I piece them together and draw the relationships, right? So you do not need to buy them off of Barron's. You just need a stack of note cards and a pen. All right. So one way to review, for example, just get a stack of like 20 note cards and say, okay, civilizations. How many civilizations can I name? Right, and then go. Or you can divide it up into period if you want. Right. You can do civilizations. You can do wars. You can do treaties. You can do all these different things. But one way to help you better organize your ideas is to use flashcards, but not just in the hold one up and tell me what it means, but look at them as a whole, group them, and start rearranging them in ways that are meaningful for your understanding. Okay, so that's the tip for today, and see you guys tomorrow.